mess. The View is a mess today. Let's talk about it, man. It's crazy. Hi, welcome to JOA. If you're new to my channel, please click subscribe and click the bell so you'll be the first to know when I upload. I really do appreciate if you subscribe and click the bell. I'm also on Patreon. Patreon is just a gateway that helps me because YouTube does censor my videos sometimes when I talk about things like I do in this video. So I do appreciate that. If you support on Patreon, $5 minimum donation or more. I want you guys to watch these clips, and then I'll come back with some more.
Right. So, Meghan, I mean, have you... What are your thoughts on this? Are you trying to figure out, like I think I am, why there is no one saying, hey, why her own party isn't dragging her in, saying, listen, you can't do this?
Well, I mean, I can't stand Marjorie Taylor Greene. I think she's a crazy person. I've said that over and over again. But she has been stripped of her committees. She has absolutely no legislative power in Congress whatsoever, which juxtaposed when IIhan Omar said that Jewish people had hypnotized the world and it was all about the Benjamins. She's still on the Foreign Relations Committee, and she's able to dictate our foreign policy in the United States of America. So what do you expect Republicans to do? I think that's taking a lot more action against a crazy person than I would say the Democrats are doing on the left. I'm confused what has risen this to a hot topic this week, because last week, as I brought up on Friday, there's a huge rise in anti-Semitic attacks against Jewish people globally and in our own country. In Los Angeles, a group of pro-Palestine anti-Semites showed up to a sushi restaurant and said who was Jewish here, and then began attacking people at that restaurant. In New York City, as I mentioned on Friday, a Jewish man wearing a kippah was beaten up in Times Square. A pipe bomb was set off in the Jewish Diamond District. In Italy, hundreds of neo-Nazis were marching and giving the Hitler salute. In Toronto, a pro-Palestinian demonstrator lynched an elderly Jewish man and sexually assaulted a Jewish woman. In London, pro-Palestinian demonstrators went down the street and screamed, "Death to Jews, blank their mothers, rape their daughters." This was all happening last week, and I would love if the energy that is being put on one crazy woman in Congress, and by the way, if she is the face of the Republicans, then the squad is the face of the Democrats. I would love Democrats to put that same type of energy onto what's happening on the left, because quite frankly, this is how people get red-pilled. They're red-pilled when they see the blatant bias in the media. It's because the media doesn't want the squad to look bad. They just want Marjorie Taylor to look bad. Anti-Semitism is a huge problem everywhere in this country. When you talk about Holocaust survivors,
yes, it is.
My producer who produces me every day, his grandparents
we're going to break, and when we come back, you can continue talking, but now we're going to break, so we'll be right back. I'm cutting you off because we have to go, Meghan. Marjorie Taylor Greene continuing to stand by her anti-Semitic comments she made recently. Meghan, you want to finish what you were saying?
Yes, all I was trying to finish saying is that when anti-Semitism shows itself on the right, it is easy to spot with crazy people and tiki torches. And when it manifests on the left, it is a lot more insidious and a lot more sinister and a lot more difficult to define.
Okay, let me point out that when IIhan Omar made her equally ridiculous comments, the entire, Nancy Pelosi snatched her up and said, let me sit down and let's talk about this because you're incorrect.
She still has
I am
power.
hoping that, let me just finish. Well, she still has power.
And Marjorie Taylor Greene has been stripped of committee. She has no power in Congress anymore. It matters who can make legislation. And if you're for BDS and you're anti-Israel in the way that she is, it has the real power to make legislative change, as we have seen last week with the squad. So the idea that Marjorie Taylor Greene is more influential than AOC is just inaccurate, and it's just not true.
I don't know what you're talking. Now I don't know what you're talking about. I understand you're upset, and I get that. But because we only have 4 minutes to talk about this, I will say again that IIhan Omar was taken underhand, and they shook her and woke her up and said, you can't do this. So I don't know whether it is one side or the other, but whether this woman has power or not, she shouldn't be in that seat. Sonny, what were you going to say?
So if you are a Palestinian and you are watching this and you are involved in going protesting, that is your God-given right to protest here in the United States of America. But please do not be violent. Please do not showcase your anger and violence. Use that emotion and put it into protest in a positive way, because you guys know what they do to black people down here. As soon as something goes up with these Black Lives Matter protests, they're going to give the stereotypical thing to black people, saying that they're aggressive and that they're angry and that they're doing all of these things, and they're going to ignore what the root of the issue actually is and why black people protest. And this is what I mean when I say that this situation, this apartheid, not situation, this apartheid has been going on for, multiple decades in Palestine is interconnected to black people in a way, because what they're doing is, since we have all of these issues, you have someone on a conservative side like Meghan McCain saying that, well, there's these attacks on Jews and anti-Semitism is on a high. And while that could be true, she's basically justifying why Palestinians are going through what they're going through. And I'm actually happy that Sonny brought up the fact that just because you criticize the Israeli government, just because you criticize Israel, that doesn't mean you're anti-Semitic. And for years, for decades, that's been the headline in the media industry, that if you even dare to say anything about Israel or dare to say anything about Jews, no matter if you're right or wrong, you're automatically considered anti-Semitic. And so I love you, Sonny, so much. I appreciate you so much. I highly do. I have the utmost, highest respect for you. And I know you see my tweets. You liked some of them, and I really do appreciate you for speaking the truth and not being scared to lose your job from your book that you did, and from actually talking the way you're talking. And I have the utmost, highest respect for you ever. I may say some things on this channel that may offend people. I may be too direct with people. But one thing I've always told myself is, if I ever have a platform, thousands, whatever, millions of people, I'm always going to use it for good. I'm always going to use it in terms of being honest and trustworthy. And so I just want to just tell my Jewish brothers and sisters out there to please be careful, that, it's a lot of, Jewish people, especially the kids, it's not their fault that there's been a 73-year apartheid. There's even Jewish people out there who supports the whole Palestinian movement. So I'm not trying to disregard a group of Jews that may not like Palestinians. What I'm trying to do is, I'm not trying to generalize Jewish people as a whole. Across my life, I've always been hesitant when I find out someone is Jewish, just because I don't want to have that tension or even have to just know what their disposition is in terms of what's been going on. Like, I knew a woman that was Jewish for over a year, and I didn't tell her until over a year later about who I was. And she was like, why didn't you tell me? And I was like, well, it's been going on for a long time. And she was like, well, I love you, baby. That's what she told me. So it's not everyone, she simply said, I love you, baby. That's what she told me. You know what I mean? So it's not everyone. So I don't want to generalize. And this anti-Semitism needs to stop. And this apartheid needs to stop. Benjamin Netanyahu needs to get out. He needs to resign, or he needs to, be investigated. There's things that needs to be done. And if you're watching this and you're pro-Palestine, or if you're Palestinian, do not cause violence, because that's what they're going to use. That's what the media is going to use. Someone like a Meghan McCain to justify the apartheid that's been going on. And Meghan McCain has absolutely nothing about this whole situation. And I'm glad that Sonny actually reads my tweets, because I told her, please invite Rashida on the show, invite someone to speak on The View about the situation. And so I highly respect her for saying, you know what, this is not my place to talk about this. But, it's not anti-Semitism to do X, Y, and Z, or to say X, Y, and Z about, to say X, Y, and Z about certain things. So that's my topic on the whole discussion. Y'all, let me know what you think in the comments below. I may do a live today. I don't know what time, but if you get a notification, just keep checking. If you don't, please subscribe, click the bell, support on Patreon. I really do appreciate y'all. I really do. Black lives matter. Palestinian lives matter. Everyone matters. Everyone matters. But you got to realize that, these lives matter is not saying you don't matter. If you feel left out, it's just basically saying that someone like a black person is not looked into the same light as someone like a white person. That's just facts. I mean, read up on your history. I mean, come on now. Why do you think they got a whole African American studies in college? Because it's all a whole bunch of BS that black people have to go through in society, and that still have to go through. And it's honestly it's heartbreaking that yesterday I had a talk with a black woman and two Latinos, and they honestly did not know that. And I'm laughing because I'm laughing in in shame. You know, I laugh in terms of self-projection. I'm laughing in shame because they did not know that Palestinians have been going through this for 73 years. They don't teach this in school. They were surprised when I told them that. You know, they thought it was for a week, 2 weeks. The time they saw it on social media. So the curriculum in school needs to be enhanced, and y'all trying to delete critical race theory, talking about African American issues when they don't really teach y'all how great African Americans were before slavery. They don't teach y'all everything from A to Z. Come on now. We got to do better in society. We just got to do better, y'all. Thank you for watching. I love you guys. Deuces. Yay. I shed a tear in this video. I really did. I was crying.